I'm sure you've heard the news, 2 leaders, 2 countries, and enough baggage to fill Air Force One. That's the scene as Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau prepares to meet former U.S. President Donald Trump. This isn't just a handshake, folks. It's a diplomatic high-wire act with global implications. The world is watching, holding its breath. Will they play nice for the cameras, or will it be a repeat of those, shall we say, spirited exchanges of the past? One thing's for sure, with Trump involved, expect the unexpected. This meeting isn't happening in a vacuum. The shadow of Ukraine looms large, a stark reminder of the stakes involved. Trump's recent antics on the international stage have raised eyebrows, to put it mildly. And then there's the whole Canada as the 51st state thing. I mean, come on, Mr. President. You can't just go around annexing countries. Not cool, man. Not cool. You need to hear this if you're concerned about North America's future. You can't talk about Trudeau and Trump without addressing the elephant in the room, Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. See, Trump's been cozying up to Russia lately, even calling Zelensky a dictator. Now, I'm no expert in international relations, but that seems like a bad idea. It's like bringing a bear to a picnic. You just know it's going to end badly. Trudeau, on the other hand, has been a vocal supporter of Ukraine. He's condemned Russia's actions and pledged Canada's unwavering support for Zelensky. This puts him at odds with Trump, to say the least. It's like watching a tennis match where the players are using live grenades instead of tennis balls. You just know someone's going to get hurt. This is why you need to understand Trudeau's firm stance on Ukraine. For Trudeau, this meeting is personal. Canada has a large Ukrainian diaspora, and the country has a long history of supporting Ukraine's independence. In fact, Canada was the first Western nation to recognize Ukraine's independence back in 1991. So when Trump starts throwing around words like dictator and peace talks with Russia, it's not just a political disagreement for Trudeau. It's a slap in the face to Canada's values and its people. Trudeau has made it clear, Canada stands with Ukraine. He's called for de-escalation and a diplomatic solution, but he's also been firm in his condemnation of Russia's actions. This puts him in a tough spot with Trump. Does he play nice and try to smooth things over, or does he stand his ground and risk further damaging the already fragile relationship between the 2 countries? Let's be real, folks. Trump loves a good trade war. It's like his favorite hobby. And Canada, being America's friendly neighbor to the north, has often been on the receiving end of his affection. Remember NAFTA? Yeah, that was fun. Trump spent years railing against it, calling it the worst trade deal ever. He eventually renegotiated it into the USMCA, which, let's be honest, wasn't that different from NAFTA. But the damage was done. Trust was broken, tariffs were imposed, and Canadian businesses were left scratching their heads. And now, with Trump back in the White House, there's a real fear that he might be ready for round 2. Trudeau knows that trade will be a major topic of discussion. He also knows that Trump is a master negotiator willing to use any tactic, no matter how unorthodox, to get what he wants. Section 5, 51st state, Trump's words, Canada's worries. Remember that time Trump joked about making Canada the 51st state? Yeah, well, Canadians haven't forgotten. In fact, it's become a bit of a running joke up north. But behind the laughter, there's a real sense of unease, because with Trump you never know when he's joking and when he's serious. And the idea of being absorbed into the American behemoth, well, it's not exactly appealing to most Canadians. It's like that time your weird uncle showed up at your birthday party and wouldn't leave. You try to be polite, but deep down, you're just hoping he doesn't try to move in permanently. So when Trudeau sits down with Trump, you can bet he'll be listening carefully to every word, trying to decipher whether Trump is serious about making America great again by adding a few more provinces. Section 6 G7, Summit. Can diplomacy survive the reality show? This meeting between Trudeau and Trump isn't just a bilateral affair. It's happening on the sidelines of the G7 summit, a gathering of the world's most powerful leaders. That means the stakes are even higher. The whole world will be watching, judging, and tweeting their reactions in real time. It's like a diplomatic episode of Survivor, but with nuclear weapons. The G7 is supposed to be a forum for cooperation and collaboration, but with Trump in the mix, it often feels more like a reality TV show full of drama, backstabbing, and unpredictable plot twists. Trudeau will have to navigate this minefield carefully. He'll need to stand up for Canada's interests while also trying to maintain a semblance of unity among the G7 leaders. It's a delicate balancing act, and one wrong step could have global consequences. Section 7, North of the border, politics heat up. Trudeau's balancing act. Back home in Canada, Trudeau is facing his own set of challenges. He's leading a minority government, which means he needs the support of other parties to stay in power. And those parties, well, they're not exactly thrilled with Trump. In fact, they're downright terrified of him. They see him as a threat to Canada's sovereignty, its economy, and its way of life. So Trudeau is caught between a rock and a hard place. He needs to show Canadians that he's standing up to Trump, but he also can't afford to alienate the U.S. too much. It's a tightrope walk, and one wrong step could send him tumbling into an abyss of political uncertainty. The pressure is on, and all eyes are on Trudeau to see how he'll handle this diplomatic tightrope walk. Section 8. Reading the tea leaves. What to expect, what it means. So, what can we expect from this meeting between Trudeau and Trump? Well, if history is any guide, it's likely to be a wild ride. There will be smiles for the cameras, of course. There might even be a few jokes cracked. But behind the facade of cordiality, there will be a tense undercurrent of mistrust and competing interests. Trudeau will likely try to focus on areas of common ground, such as trade and security. He'll emphasize the importance of the Canada-U.S. relationship and try to smooth over any ruffled feathers. Trump, on the other hand, is anyone's guess. He might be on his best behavior, or he might decide to use the meeting as an opportunity to air his grievances and make demands. One thing's for sure. The outcome of this meeting will have a significant impact on the future of Canada-U.S. relations. Section 9. Beyond handshakes. The long road for Canada and the U.S. No matter what happens during this meeting, one thing is clear. The relationship between Canada and the United States will never be the same. The days of easygoing friendship and unquestioning loyalty are gone. In their place is a more complex, more fraught dynamic, one shaped by shifting global power dynamics and the unpredictable whims of Donald Trump. Canada, for its part, is learning to navigate this new reality. It's strengthening its ties with other countries, diversifying its economy, and rediscovering its own national identity. The road ahead will be challenging, but Canada is up to the task. After all, this isn't the first time it's had to deal with a difficult neighbor, and if there's one thing Canadians are good at, it's weathering the storm.